Okay. Mike, how would you vote Ray stem cell research?
Well, as a scientist, yes, I am. I confess, I'm a geek. I spent many a lovely spring or summer afternoon in the lab or in the library of Harvard looking up obscure scientific journals. Stem cell research is so important, not just to expanding the wealth of human knowledge, which in its own has value, but in how it teaches us how we can treat, heal a range of diseases, human conditions, some of them congenital. And I strongly support stem cell research. The federal government has a role, just like they did in 1977 when recombinant DNA technology came in to playing, that we need to have the right oversight over the technology. It's important to have this part of a very intense, lively public discussion. That is crucial, but I will strongly support federal funds for stem cell research. It benefits us all.
Susan?
Well, this is very personal to me, and I bet it's very personal to everybody in this room, because we all know somebody who could be helped through stem cell research. I'm obviously a strong supporter of it. My daughter-in-law happens to have needed a kidney transplant a few years ago, and I marveled at the miracle of her being able to get a special kidney from her brother. That isn't stem cell research, but someday there might be a way that that was not necessary. And so I can't say enough good things about the men and women, the scientists who have been studying for years to bring about the kind of breakthroughs in this field. I'm delighted that San Diego is going to be a key absolute player in this, and I can't wait till the next president comes in and helps us to progress in this field.
Okay, thank you. Susan, what is your opinion on the Sunrise Powerlink?
There are, a lot of ways, I think, in which we need to work hard for renewable energy here in San Diego. This is one solution that's been proposed, but there are many others that we should look at first. And so I have looked at some of these plans. I voted to block laws that allow San Diego Gas and Electric to bypass the PUC. And like so many other things, I think we have to have the kind of open and fair hearings on this issue that are critically important to get all the issues on the table. We need a reliable grid. We need to do that, but we need to do it right, and we need to respect the environmental problems that exist in moving forward with this issue. I think we need to work with San Diego Gas and Electric, but we also need to be very clear about our concerns about it.
Mike?
One thing I believe in is moving towards greater personal responsibility and self-sufficiency. And I think to place our energy eggs in the SDG&E basket is to invite the worst sort of price and energy manipulation, the Enron-type schemes that we've already witnessed. It's absolutely wrong. The Sunrise Powerlink should actually be called the Sunset Death Link. Just burning dirty Indonesian natural gas in Mexico to then bypass our environmental regulations and then bringing it across, destroying the Anza Borrega Desert. It's wrong 8 ways to Sunday. We have right here in San Diego the chance to grow our own electricity on our own rooftops, our businesses. And Jim Bell has shown us how it's done. For the proof of concept, we can do it right here at the county and make the county energy self-sufficient. And the great thing is this will bring not only put the kibosh on SEMPRA and SDG&E and their environmental destruction, it'll reduce the carbon footprint, but it will bring new jobs to our area and allow San Diego to reemerge as the leader it is and should be in new sustainable energy.
Mike, will you get rid of Blackwater type of organizations? You know this is a lively crowd for
yes.
questions.
Yes, in fact, we're all smiling because we have Ray Lutz and a coalition of many others, Bob Fillender, to thank for having stopped Blackwater in Potrero. This makes it a very local issue. We're very concerned about them popping up again at the Brownfield site. Blackwater is a private mercenary army. It was a $200,000 company until Mr. Bush began this war. It now has contracts of over $220 million. This is the siphoning of the public treasury to private hands to create what is essentially a privatized brown shirt army. And having already witnessed a Prescott Bush, another Bush that funded a brown shirt army in Germany, having witnessed the horrific, destructive effects of that, I think we need not repeat the mistake.
Oops.
I will stand with Bob Filner. I will co-sponsor his resolution to prevent Blackwater or any other private military contractor from using our lands.
Please, please, I know it's it's wonderful when the person says something you want to hear. But let's all hear everything. Susan.
Well, fortunately, we have some very clever people here in San Diego that are able to find ways that they have not adhered to our rules and regulations and our codes here in the San Diego region. And so that has been helpful because we know that you cannot like something, but you also have to find a way that it doesn't get litigated to death so that you can do away with it at the time that you need to. I think the real question here is one of contractors and whether or not this country has utilized contractors to agree that is not acceptable to all of us. I know that in my role on the Oversight Committee in the Armed Services, we have addressed this. My colleague, Henry Waxman, has addressed it. And again, in this next administration, I think we're going to be able to see some real changes in this area. But what I'm fighting for right now is to make sure that we never have the situation that we have in Iraq, because we're fighting to be sure that we have a cabinet that is able to vet these issues in a very different way than this president has done. We call it interagency reform. I've been a leader in that, and that is the kind of program that says we've got value in all the people in this country, not just our military.
Okay. Susan, besides being a candidate for office or in office, what have you done to volunteer in your private life to help your community?
One of the things that I've been very involved in over the years, of course, is working with young people in our community. As you know, I was the executive director of a program called the Aaron Price Fellows Program. And so I've continued to work with young people in a host of different ways. Some of it is in my capacity as a Congress member, because people have asked me to do that in that way. I work with Aquatic Adventures, which has done tremendous work in trying to replenish our environment. We were just in City Heights the other day. And so I take a lot of time out of my schedule to do that and to spend time with young people. And I happen to believe that if we can educate and be part of it and set that example, that that's a good thing to do. I also, of course, take time out to try and help people here in the community that are trying to do something on their neighborhood groups and whatever that might be. And I also see that as an important way of staying engaged with the community.
Thank you. Mike?
Yes, thank you. You know, I believe that we have a moral obligation to do right and to leave this world and our communities always, every day, a better place than when we found it. And with a friend who lives in Boston, I began a nonprofit that helps kids in Brazil become distance runners. It's fantastic. It's in the northeast rural part of Brazil, very poor. Here in San Diego, I've worked with a nonprofit group called the Girls Think Tank, many of whom are staff attorney lawyers downtown, with outreach to San Diego's homeless population, distribution of food, water, clothing. I go down to register homeless folks to vote. Where are the advocates for the homeless? Where's the political action committee? We need a street pack. We need advocates for our homeless. Thank you.
Okay.